What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode number 285 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. Again, welcome to episode number 285 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast, and this episode is entitled People, Places, and Things. This phrase is used in recovery to typically lead a client into a deep look at triggers. People can be friends, family, people you used with, people who create stress in your life. They can also be strangers who just happen to see you and you see them getting high or drunk. They can be places that stir up memories of using or reminders of what you lost in your addiction. You can even be triggered by watching TV or a movie. Things can be seeing drugs or paraphernalia. They can be looking at gifts that people gave you or maybe left behind in your home or wherever you're staying. They can be photographs or images on social media. You get it? The list could go on and on and on. People, places, and things are everywhere. They are not going away. They will always be there, and you can't get away from them. The key is figuring out how you can control them. Most addicts early in recovery have a longing to control them, and it's impressed upon them by others in recovery who've been there before. Or maybe there's just this desire to learn how to control their reactions to them so that they don't trigger a relapse. So we ask others, what did you do? What did you do? Well, today's episode, we're going to look at this and see how to approach our people, places, and things. And I'm going to start with a brief excerpt from a play written by Duncan Macmillan entitled People, Places, and Things. And this is about a character named Emma who's struggling to deal with that as she's establishing her recovery. And this scene is Emma meeting with her doctor. And Emma says, "I shouldn't be here." The doctor responds, "It's pretty obvious that you should. You came here for a reason. That was a good impulse." But Emma just looked at her hands and started shaking. And so the doctor refilled Emma's glass of water. And he said, "Your addiction will fight any progress. It's a parasite, and it will fight for its own survival until you're dead. But progress is possible." Wow. That's a great intro to what is a great play. And think about it. The doctor's saying, it was a good impulse that you came here. And your addiction is what keeps you second guessing things. It will fight any progress. So I think the first thing that I'd like to share from that is that we have to decide to go to places that we may not feel we should be, because it's actually a good impulse that's pulling us towards progress in this case. So find the courage to go to your meetings, see your coach, your sponsor, or your counselor. Okay, so let's dig in a little bit more and say, how do you control your reactions to people, places, and things? Well, let's start with Russell Brand's quote when he said, "I have no power at all over people, places, and things. And if I ever for a moment mistakenly believe that I do and act as if I do, pain is on its way." So Russell Brand is like all of us, struggling to figure out how to control people, places, and things. And he's saying, I can't even lie to myself and think I can control it, because if I do, pain is on its way. But I'd like to give everybody some pointers on how do we control our reactions to the people, places, and things that we can't control. Okay, here's the list for you. First thing I want to say is slow down your reaction time. And to do that, when you're in a situation with people, places, and things that could be triggering, to slow down your reaction time, pause before you respond. Take a moment to process the information that is there in your mind and consider multiple perspectives and options before you formulate a response. And better yet, we could pre-plan our responses. So if we're going to see some people, if we're going to bump into them unexpectedly at the grocery store, if we're going places that used to trigger us in the past, pre-plan your response. And I'm even saying, have a script. Write down situations that you might find yourself in and practice what you will say or what you will do. And once you get the script, find someone to sort of role play it with. I call them real play because you're playing out what actually might happen. Another key thing that we use in the From Ashes to Destiny curriculum, which is found on pages 174 and 175 if you have the book, and that's a chart where you can circle your emotions every day for a week. And I encourage people to just keep doing it on and on. And there's a chart for positive emotions and negative emotions, 20 emotions for each to look at. I'll talk about negative ones such as, do you feel angry? Do you feel apathy, bored, frustrated, guilt, hopeless, lonely, lazy, things like that. And the positive emotions can be feeling calm, confident, doing your devotions, exercise, feeling happy and hopeful, interested, peaceful, patient. Another thing that I encourage people that I'm working with to do is get a copy of an emotion wheel. And these are really, really good because you can take a thing like you're feeling sad and it asks, well, are you sad because you're guilty? Are you lonely or bored? Are you feeling some of those because you're feeling abandoned, apathetic, indifferent, powerless, ashamed? So what I'm saying is it's very important in managing our reactions to people, places, and things by staying in touch with our emotions, both positive and negative. Another hint I could give you is identify the noisy stuff in your life. That stuff that just intrudes without you knowing it, or maybe it's just there always around you. And I want to encourage you to identify that noisy stuff and decide how you can change that, how you can move on or move away from it. Recognize chaos and run to your peace and guard your peace. Identify toxic people, places, and things. Avoid them when possible. And if it's not possible, I encourage people to double book yourself. So if you have to go to that family gathering and you know it might trigger you, then double book yourself so you don't have to stay all day at a family function where you're just going to be triggered the whole time, but you do feel obligated to stop by. So book something else so you only stay at that function for an hour. Another thing that you can do to help control your reactions is identify who will take you back to where you don't want to go. Really dig deep. So I'm not just saying your dealer, but who, just by being around them, will get your mind going back to where you don't want to go. And I want to encourage you to use wisdom. It's not about being stronger or better. It's about getting wisdom of these possible triggers. Another pointer is to stop deflecting the truth. Be honest with yourself and with at least one person who is saying the truth to you in love. And a final pointer I'd like to share is protect your safe spaces like it's life and death. Think of it like a castle. Build a fortress, build a moat, build a rampart, which is that walkway with a wide area that you can look out and see potential intrusions. Your safe spaces could be your morning coffee, a walk, being in nature, sitting on a bench, going to the gym, yoga, stretching, you name it. Your safe spaces can simply be earbuds or noise canceling headphones so that if you can't get away from the noise and the chaos and there are people all around, if you're sitting amongst them with noise canceling headphones or earbuds on, listening to music, a podcast, an audiobook, you've created your safe space. Another way to create your safe space like a castle is journal. Get a notebook, a workbook, and go through things and keep working on them and keep focused in them. In closing, I'd like to give you a quote by Louise Hay, who said, "I let go of all expectations. People, places, and things are free to be themselves, and I am free to be me." So I want to encourage you to be free to be you. And one closing thought, how about if we change the P&T, the people, places, and things, as pause, positivity, and take charge. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you were saying that's me as you listen, then it's time now to reach out and join a group and work on your people, places, and things. You can message me on the link in this podcast or by email at davidfroma2d@gmail.com or go to my website, www.froma2d.org, and click on the contact page. Keep listening to future podcast episodes, and as always, stay safe and stay resilient.